Zachy, you want to fight one? Captain Zach, we've done this in a while, bud. When's the last time you got
Out on the water is where you'll find Charter Captain Andy Bliss most in his element.
Come on, fishy, come on.
Whether running charters aboard the Cold Steel or educating anglers on the best way to catch fish.
I started fishing Lake Ontario at an early age. My grandfather brought me up here in '86. I started working on charter boats in '94, my freshman year of high school. When I graduated high school, went to college, I came to Oswego State because I just wanted to be where Lake Ontario. I got my captain's license and guide's license in the early 2000s and been living the fishing guide life ever since.
His season starts early, as soon as the ice clears and the water starts to warm up. That's when fish like brown trout return to shallow waters and stock trout are reintroduced into lakes, ponds, and rivers across the region.
The scope of the brown trout fishery here in New York is huge. They were originally brought to America in the late 1800s from Europe for sport fishing opportunities. They are now stocked by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation throughout the state, including ponds, rivers, streams, and here in Lake Ontario and some of its tributaries.
There we go, we got one.
Brown trout, as the name might imply, are often a brownish or silvery brown color. They can range in size anywhere from a couple pounds to the record, which was caught here in Lake Ontario, which was over 30 pounds.
Reeling in a trout of that size starts with knowing the best tips for catching one, starting with the right bait.
The best baits to employ when targeting spring brown trout are floating stick baits. Stick baits in the 3 to 5 inch range are best because they imitate gobies and alewives. The floaters work better than deep divers because you're fishing so shallow and let you to fish shallow water. Small spoons, like standard size stingers, are also a great bait. You just run them on a one color lead core or a small weight to help keep them down. A key to targeting browns in the spring, based on the clarity of the water. You want to use very natural looking baits in clear water, and you can use brighter color baits when the water's stained. Some days they want both, but they can be very particular on what bait to eat depending on the conditions.
If you're going with a guide or a charter captain, generally they'll have everything that you need to be successful, aside from what you're wearing.
And the right claws really matter because while the air may feel like summer, the water still feels like winter.
People often forget on land, the temperature might feel nice and warm, but once you get a few miles offshore, things can get pretty cold. So making sure you have layers, waterproof footwear, and for me, I make sure I always have eye protection and a personal flotation device.
Make sure to have a life vest because you won't last long in the water if, God forbid, you fall over. And things can be icy the earlier you go out, so safety is a #1 concern when fishing early season brown trout.
Trout aren't the only fish swimming in the water this season, and it can be easy to mix them up with their neighbors.
Brown trout can look like one of our native species of salmonid, the Atlantic salmon. They often say that you can grab an Atlantic salmon by the tail, you're able to tail it, but with a brown trout, it has a chubbier tail, so it's more difficult to grab there. They also have differences in the roof of their mouth. It's called vomerine teeth. So brown trout will have 2 rows and Atlantic salmon will only have 1 row of these teeth in the roof of their mouth. Sea Grant has created a fantastic trout and salmon ID that is a material that's really handy, especially for new anglers, to help them identify their catch.
Lastly, it's important to consider fishing rules for whichever water body is being fished in. From lakes to streams to tributaries, regulations vary, and staying informed can make or break a trip.
They can vary from year to year. There are updates and changes made, and from water body to water body, there are differences in what kind of fish you can keep and when. So referencing the DEC's Fishing Regulation Handbook, and if you're going to keep your catch to cook it, you should also look at some of the consumption advisories for that water body.
Anglers can spend hours on the water catching fish, whether brown trout, Atlantic salmon, or smallmouth bass. It's an opportunity the Cold Steel crew enjoys with every trip.
The part I love about being a charter captain and fishing guide is seeing the excitement I bring to people's faces who've never caught a large fish before. Brown trout are a very popular species in the Northeast and all over the country. The fact that we can take people out and catch a fish here that some people consider our small fish, bigger than anything they've seen in their local waters, is a real enjoyment.
It's encouraged that anglers carry their New York State fishing license before heading out on the water, whether with the charter captain or fishing solo. From Oswego Harbor for WPBS Weekly, I'm Luke Smith.